Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for attending this month's Telligent Tips. I want to go over a few items on the agenda. We'll talk about some housekeeping items. Today's topic is Telligent Community 10.0 release with a demo, and then we'll have a Q&A session for those that have further questions about the 10.0 release. Today's webinar is scheduled for a half hour. All participants will be muted to enable the speakers to present without interruptions. You're able to submit questions via the WebEx Q&A screen at any time. And please be sure to send them to all panelists so everybody can see who is presenting to answer your questions. Similar questions will be aggregated together, and then we'll ask them at the end. And last but not least, this session is being recorded and will be available for replay in our community. Today's presenter is Kevin Cunningham, Director of Product for Telligent, and he's going to go into Telligent Community in the release. Telligent Community is designed to accelerate online collaboration and increase effectiveness. The themes for Telligent Community 10.0 include improved real-time engagement and a more modern online experience. Highlights include live user engagement with real-time content updates, real-time presence, and typing indicators. Also, highlights include new threaded commenting and discussions to deliver a richer and more in-depth interaction, and a brand new conversation experience that includes live interactions and search. All of these which Kevin will go into detail. Additionally, Telligent Community 10.0 includes member and group management improvements, full Emoji support, prioritized notifications, and calendar enhancements. I'm going to now pass it on to Kevin so he can give you a demo.
Thank you, Tess. All right, I'm going to, let me share these out. Let me make sure you can see them. Share. I'll share 4 different browsers here. So, let me do this real quick. Firefox. You may not be able to see them all, but okay. See Chrome? Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. Just a quick intro to what I'll be using today in this webinar. This is my fictitious Tangerine Pi site. This is my knockoff Raspberry Pi support community. This is a 10.0 release. This is the free version. I've made only very minimal page layout changes, so everything you're going to see today is straight out of the box. All right, we've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. The first topic I'd like to cover is the system notification changes. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see this yellow notification. This is in Telligent Community 9.0, we introduced system notifications. It's a way for the platform and developers, there's an API for this, to notify administrators of actionable items that need immediate attention. In 9.0, we used conversations as the delivery mechanism for this. In 10.0, we made a clean separation away from conversations to make it its own standalone notification system. The reason I wanted to show this feature right off the bat is these notifications, as I mentioned, are used to communicate to administrators actions that should be addressed immediately. So this notification will actually stay on and be delivered through every request until I take action on it. So yesterday I upgraded my site. It's telling me I've got a new system notification. This is the new panel that slides out. As you can see here, it's giving me the information. This is something that we do on all updates released. We give users the opportunity to review all the updates. This panel also includes older notifications. I also created a bad less file. I made a bad edit in my less file, and I was getting nagged that, hey, I'm at an issue. And so yesterday I went in and resolved that issue. Just like we had in 9.0, you do have the option to mark them as resolved. So I'm going to go ahead and resolve this one, get it out of my queue. That way I get it off my site, and now when I'm browsing through the site, those will go away. So that's just kind of want to get that feature delivered. Want to show you guys that feature real quick and then kind of move on. One of the themes for Telligent 10.0 was a more live user experience. One of the first things you'll notice when you install 10.0 is throughout the site and certain areas of the site, you'll see this new member presence indicator. A new feature we call member presence is tracking users as they're on the site. With the intent that in many communities, when you know users are around, that mere notification that someone's around increases user engagement. So in this particular case here, I'm logged in as KW. You can see I'm online. ZenGamer is not online. But throughout this webinar, you'll see these indicators pop up and help deliver that live user experience throughout several features that you'll see today. The first one that pops up, real quick too. For this setting, users do have full control over whether or not they want to have their presence tracked. We understand that there may be a need where someone may not want to know that they're online for various reasons. There's also the ability for administrators to configure this option as a whole for users across the site. So you can completely disable this feature if you want. If your site just doesn't lend itself to having this feature, that's fine. You also optionally have the option to set what is the default setting for users. So you could say, when I turn this on, everyone comes in with their present not being tracked, and so they opt into it. And you can also configure whether or not you want to allow people to toggle it. So not only could you say, I want this on for everyone, I also do not want them to turn it off. Maybe you had something in your site agreement that is notifying users that their member presence will be displayed. So you do have control over that. So let's look at the first place this comes into play. To show this, I'm going to jump right into something that new in 10.0 is our new conversation experience. So in prior to 10.0, the conversation private messaging feature was subject-based. It was email-like, if you will, and throughout over the years, we would, if you were participating on a forum or a community, you would ultimately end up building up a huge list and piles of conversations, just like you may in email. Some of the feedback we heard was usually topic-based discussions are typically ideally meant for the community, and taking some of those conversations offline and taking particular subject-based conversations offline is ideally not good for the community. That's not always the case. I mean, sometimes there are some reasons, but majority speaking, when using private messaging, they're conversations. They're things that are happening one-offs. Maybe it's a request from a support team. Maybe it's just direct interaction with other members in the community. But there's becoming a more and more common user experience with that. We use them today in texting, we use it in Skype, we use it in other messaging platforms, and so we moved to a participant list-driven conversations. So as you can see here, I'm pulling up the new experience. It's we'll do this through migration for existing sites as well, but all the interactions I have are driven through the participants that I'm having this conversation with. Again, we do this every day when we're using text or we're doing other platforms. So this should be a very common look and feel. Also, you'll notice that this brand new UI we've got a fixed text box at the bottom. So when you're having conversations, it's no longer two screens where you're popping up and saying I want to start a conversation. It's all right here, ready for you. Earlier I mentioned the member presence. I'm going to go ahead and snap into a two-user view. So here on the left, I'm logged in as KW, and on the right, I'm going to log in, or I'm sitting here as another user. Rai is another community member. So to show where member presence pops up is you can obviously see, hey, I can see KWs online, so I can start a conversation with them. Also, when I start typing, hey, did you get my last message? You'll notice I get typing indicators over here too. This is where that member presence comes into play. If I have this enabled, that will pop up when I'm typing. Other users can see those interactions that if they're having something directly with me. Also, the UI is completely live. So when I type that and it was immediate response, we've got a highlighted messaging here. When I see that, you see on the right-hand side, I get typing indicator. So I'm having a full live conversation with this particular user. I got the, again, with the idea being, especially in a support scenario, which is really common for Telligent Community customers, is I can start this conversation, I can sit here live, and knowing that this person's right here with me, I can kind of continue to have a rich conversation. Just like other usage patterns you're used to, I can actually drop out of this conversation as well. I can leave this conversation, which is I'll get a notification when I leave. When this user comes back and says, hey, you there? I'll be pulled back into it. So again, I have the option to clean up my inbox, but I also have the option to be pulled right back in. So that's one of the common feedback items we had is the private messaging became very cumbersome. Many people remembered the conversations they had with particular users, but not so much the topics. So while these are now organized by users, we also now, if you did remember something that you had, we now also introduce search with conversations. So here I've searched all messages, all conversations are indexed, and upon doing a quick search, we'll pop up, we'll highlight that for you. So again, that's where the theme is from the live interactions. You kind of see that happening. Then let's see, there's some other places that'll permeate throughout as well. So looking at the blog, the next big update we had is visually threaded comments. So this is a blog post here. There's a lot of new experiences here, so I'll kind of walk through them with you. The first one, as you'll notice, is here's where the presence comes into play. I'll just there is a small delay, but I'll go ahead and browse over there as another particular user. But the visually threaded comments are a much better user experience when we think of just overall interactions with users. We'll see prior to 10.0, obviously these were flat. We have always typically supported a threaded API level, but we never visually showed the comments in that manner. Notice when I browse to that blog post as Rai, now I've got 2 community members here. So let's look at this kind of top down. The first part is you'll notice in threadings we've introduced being able to vote. Again, this is an experience that as communities become more and more social, it's a way of expression. Sometimes we've seen environments where votes are not great. They'll get maybe voted down, maybe they're not abusive, but you also have capability of voting comments up. This is again a way to show what are the best comments in a particular blog, in a particular blog comment or any kind of comment listing. If you just visually look at this, you can see this is much easier to understand what is going on here. You think of side conversations they take. Again, we experience this in all other social platforms as well. So getting it here, it's a very common user experience. So you're very familiar with this look. Another optional visual feature that we've added is these top comments. As listings get more and more, as they get deeper, comments can get into the hundreds, they could get even in the thousands. An easy way, obviously when you land on this page, we by default will sort you by best, but we'll take the option, we take the, again, configurable option to pull out some of the top comments. So here, if I vote them up, these are ways to have some of the top comments float to the top. This we believe, you can configure this from 1 to 5, whatever your community desires, but it's a way to pull out some of the top contributors, because when you do sort by best, we really want to avoid things getting lost. And like anything else, of course, you can sort by oldest, just a traditional sorting, and by newest. So you're not losing anything there as well, but what you're gaining is the voting. Votes also have the capability of viewing the voters. And again, with the APIs, you can react to any kind of voting. If you had an environment where you'd like to hide negative votes, you may have an opportunity of dimming. That's another common pattern we've seen, where you may dim this out or make it less visible for the users. And notice I did vote that up and then back down, and I can remove my vote. Real quick, so let's look at live engagement. Where does that come into play? So again, great content keeps users in the site, but once they're there, how can you still have community members collaborate on the same topics and stick around? So I'm squishing my screen a little bit to show a couple of different items here. So hopefully you can see two browsers side by side. I'm logged in as different users. One of the things that we've introduced in areas like forums and activity stream comments and comments here is live updates. So as you're engaging in these topics, what we're starting to do in many areas is we'll notify you when actions are occurring around the site. So when I'm typing here, you'll notice you'll get a notification that Rai is typing here. It's in context of what the comment that's occurring. I've obviously stopped, so it pops away. Another thing that you'll get from the left-hand side, if I'm authoring some content, replying, and Rai comes in and gives a reply, you'll notice that we give visual indicators for new comments. Again, this is about showing and giving the users actions as they come in. You're not having to refresh the page, you're getting live updates as they happen. Also, things will occur if they happen off, if I'm scrolled offline, if I'm engaging, and things happen off screen. Great. Thanks. You'll notice I get notification indicators on the bottom here. So this has happened. It's not in my viewport. I can't see this, but I can actually get a notification. I can click through and be highlighted of what else happened. So again, these are a great way of, you can actually sit on these pages and express yourself as they happen and get real live feedback. Again, it's all about creating a much richer conversation. Of course, in these, as threaded lists get deeper and deeper, we'll always give context to where replies happen. So every comment that is a reply to another, you'll always get the permalink, and then you'll get always in reply to the parent. So clicking through the parent will always highlight, what is the actual one. You can imagine that it gets deeper, or the list gets longer. It could be a reply to a parent, and it's a real easy indicator to get back to who this is in reply to. A note about obviously lists, we don't want them to get too deep, otherwise your page and your user experience, and whether it's mobile or even on a browser, can get potentially unreadable. So you also have the option to configure how deep you want this list to be. So this comes into play where earlier I replied to KDub. This is a direct reply to KDub. After the depth, out of the box, we ship with 3. We see a common pattern in between 3 and 4 replies. This happens also in comment as well as in forums. That's about an average depth. Out of the box, we ship with a depth of 3. This is completely configurable to what your community likes. So we go up to 5 as the max depth. So here, once we get up to 3, we will flatten the responses. So here, great thanks is actually a reply to 4. It doesn't look visually that deep because we've configured that way. Again, you do have the option. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little deeper to show you that behavior. here you can see where we give the option to show the best at the top of the comment list, as well as configure the depth. So I'm going to go ahead and put this at 4, publish that. And you'll see here that great thanks. I think that was the 4, right? Maybe I replied up to 1. Oh, I think I replied up to Ryan. That's to Kata, that's why. So now we got depth of 4. Also, you may be thinking, well, maybe traditionally I'm used to more of a flat view. We still support that as well. You want the flat view, but you want the live interactions, you can still do that. To do that, you come right in the same location. You go ahead and configure that down to 1. So now I've got a flat depth, a thread depth of 1, a comment depth of 1. I think I published that. I published that. And now you're in your more traditional look and feel of the oldest and newest. Obviously, votes they're great for popping out top comments, but there's no sorting on them in that if you sort by votes, it becomes a very disjointed conversation. But point being is that if you're used to the traditional format, you still have that available to you along with all the live updates. Okay. Real quick also, just one quick note. Okay, no, actually I covered that. So that's threaded comments. We think there'll be a lot of excitement for that. We've heard that feedback for a long time, and now it's in. So also another threaded aspect that we hear, threaded feedback we get a lot is around threaded discussions. So forums get some threaded love too. They get much of the same benefits that you saw from comments. When replying, I get direct access to live indicators, the typing indicators. I get the full depth, along with they get some other added extras. So let's kind of work this top down to show you how these discussions and Q&A are looked at. So the first thing is you'll get votes. It's a little twist on votes in that they have this, obviously in the Q&A form, I can also ask a question. So in this case here, I'm logged in as Kata. I'm not going to answer this, but one of the feedbacks we heard now that we've introduced votes and then also the ability to, if you recall, prior to 10, we always had the this helped me, is votes are a way for the community to give quality feedback, or really kind of any kind of feedback that deems valuable, a way to express value in the reply. But an answer for a solution, many times we're heard, is something that should be deemed either by people who had the actual issue themselves or by the author themselves. So there's an adjustment to the way that feature works. It's completely done visually in the widgets. It's not something that's enforced by the APIs. But when working through, I'm logged in now as a Golden Egg member, I have the opportunity to verify answers, but in order to do this, I must also say I have the answer. So when I have the answer, now you'll get these options of having the verified answer. This is something that was familiar in 10.0 if you've used, in 9.0 if you used a community platform before. But now this functionality, because of voting, comes through. Now we're able to split quality versus an actual verified solution. So again, in 10.0, there's two ways to verify a solution. The author can always verify a solution, and then users who also have that problem, who also have that issue, can verify, say, this helped me. So in this particular case, I'm not the author, but I can say that that I'm going to verify that this may have solved my issue, but I'm not moving it to any kind of state yet, because I'm not the author. So, but this is where community voting comes in. I'm coming in as I actually am in this case. I'm not the author either, but here you'll see now I get the filters for answers. It's not a verified answer yet. But if I do log in, but again, you'll notice that once I have a suggested answer, now I get a new filter to pop up. Again, this is familiar to community members before, and it really is all about getting answers. but now I have the opportunity to see this particular suggested answer. Again, I'm a user. In this particular case, I'm Rai. I'm not the author of this, but I'm going to go ahead and say I had this helped me too. Again, this is all about other community members voting and saying this potentially helped me. In this particular case, saying something helped me also gives a vote. It also bumps it to the top if there's no other replies with that rating. But now that I'm going to go ahead and come in as Ice King, who is the author, and I'm going to go ahead. Oops, I'm in the wrong form here. I'm going to go in this forum post, and I'm going to agree with these two individual members. And I am the. Oops, it's Rai. Whoops, I'm in as the wrong user actually. I'm Rai. So here we go. Ice King. I am in the wrong form reply. There we go. Now I'm Ice King. I'm the author of this. I have now the opportunity. I apologize here. I'm on the wrong forum post. That's probably was really confusing for you guys. I apologize. Now I'm logged in over here as Ice King. I am the author. I obviously being the author, have always had the ability to verify the answer. When I come in, I verify the answer. Again, I'm getting live updates. The users at the site, they're sitting there reading this forum post. They're getting the updates as they're happening. Again, with much like the comments, we have Permalink support. So as deep as I can get, I'm going to go ahead and copy the link here. If I browse to that direct link, you'll see that we're brought into that particular link, all highlighted. So again, that you can pass these links around. We don't lose that aspect of permalinking. Another new feature in 9, you'll notice that for a lot of these interactions, I am not leaving. Prior to 10.0, we had a concept of quick replies and then rich text editing replies. In 10.0, you'll rarely move into a full rich text editing experience. It's actually an option that you can enable to it'll pop up and say, hey, do you want to allow that? But with the new editing options, you can completely do full rich text responses from directly within the community. This gives a benefit of also doing things like quoting. So in this particular case, I'm quoting. Oops, I don't want that. Again, I'm not leaving different pop-ups. I'm able to experience a much fuller conversation, live interaction right here on the site. Again, when you're looking at this, you may be thinking, I love threading. It may or may not be for me in a particular forum. This is all configurable at the forum level. One thing we offer in forums as well is if you still have the need to support a flat view, you can go ahead and do that. Just like we did with the comments, where you go ahead and adjust the thread depth, you still can do the very similar configuration here as well. It'll look really familiar to you. We've got whether or not we want to include the best, whether or not we want to land on best or oldest. We ship out of the box as landing on oldest. And of course, if you do want a flat view, more traditional view, you can go ahead and select that and still get all the added benefits of the live interactions and immediate updates. Cool. All right, next up is the activity stream updates. Again, this is essentially out-of-the-box install. I'm going to go into a two-member view as well here, so you can kind of get both look with two different users interacting. Land here, snap over here. So comments are is an area that we get obviously on an activity stream that gets a lot of action. So again, I'm two different particular users here. Updates here, I'm getting, again, on the left-hand side, live updates. So I can sit in an activity stream and essentially have it being updated live without even leaving. I get notification over here. I got something new. Also, we keep in context of threading. That reply was directly to RaiRai. So if I click through here, you'll see that I collapsed this, but you can actually see this was this RaiRai reply over here. I was made directly into KW. It kept this contextual behavior. Click it, you can see. So that threading aspect is maintained. Threading in the activity stream is flattened, but you still get it through the textual comments. So you can see, KW doesn't reply to RaiRai. So you're always getting that rich view of knowing where these things occurred. Okay, another update, let me get full screen here, is notifications. So we've improved notifications. Instead of a big long list of all the things that have happened for you, we've introduced two things. One, categorized notifications, and then prioritized. So you'll notice these headers across the top in which you can actually mark a set of notifications by these categories. You'll see we prioritize notifications for things that you are direct need review in. We'll also push them to maybe from responses that or from content that you're a participant in, and then also through subscriptions. There's a total of 6 categorizations, but the point of these adjustments were, some of the feedback we heard was a big fire hose list made it real difficult to understand what I should be focused on. So this new list is categorized and then also prioritized. So it gives you as the user the benefit of viewing them top down. Another addition there is you can click all the way through. This is a new page. This didn't exist previously. Is you can click directly through and filter by those notifications. Again, this page is new, and prior to this, it was a big fire hose. Next up is you may have seen some of this through some of the interactions that I've been doing. But in the platform now, we have full emoji support. Again, we have full emoji support from your own native devices. So if you're using a mobile or using your Mac or your Windows keyboard, you can directly use those the emojis in your system, in your platform, and we'll convert them to the emojis that are shipped with the platform. Out of the box, we ship with Emoji 1. Real quick too, I did that through my keyboard, but also you have this benefit of coming through and inserting emoticon. Again, it's another way of allowing users to express themselves. Emojis are good or bad, a way of life for a lot of people, and it's a way for community members to express whatever their feeling is in the community. So again, there's tons of categories. I think there's, I don't remember how many overall, 400 or 500 overall. You do have a full control over the emoticons themselves as well. So you can add your own custom emoticons. You can edit the existing categories. You can edit disable particular ones. We have a few disabled right out of the box. They also have variations. And again, you have full control over but whether or not you want these, you can turn them completely off if you want. The next feature is group membership. We, in the past, group membership was managed. I'm going to log in as a non-administrator. I'm going to view the page as a non-administrator here. I'm viewing this partners group as just a regular user. If I look at members here, in the past, membership was done on this page. This is where you promote users to owners, etc. And it wasn't an ideal experience. So we've moved that membership into one of the administration panels. So now this has several benefits. One, it's a consistent experience with the rest of the administration. Two, you have improved search capabilities. You can also do role event instead of kind of in the back end. Now you're able to add roles as members directly through the UI. So I've created a role here. I put anytime anyone comes in this community, a member that I want to be in the partner group, I go ahead and add them here. And when I add them, now I've got those directly right here. Another new addition here is something that we didn't have in the past is an easier promotion and changing. So in this particular case, I've changed everyone in this particular user group as the manager. I've also been able to identify where the users came from. So Ice King is now a member of this group, but he's actually now a member through a role membership. This was something that was really difficult to see in the past. But not only that is I can also change him to a member, and because he is a member through a role, there may be times you need to break that. So what we're give the ability to do here is give you the option to, if you try to change a role, we give you the option to break it out. So now you can say we actually track that as two different pieces. So if they were removed from a role, he won't lose membership because he's also added as a direct membership member. This is something that was really difficult to see in the past, and as of now you have direct visibility into that. The next item is invitations. And this was something else that we've always had, but we actually had no insight into it. And so with now, you can actually invite members directly from this UI. I'm going to invite Zen Gamer here. I'll go ahead and send that. I can see a listing of pending invitations. Zen Gamer hasn't approved this yet. But more importantly, we can have the ability to resend. We've had times when this, again, wasn't really easy to do through the platform. And so if someone says, hey, I haven't been able to get that, or it caught by spam, or whatever the reason is, now you have the option to resend that to the users. Again, this is about just making some of the existing features much easier to use and much more user-friendly. The next thing I wanted to cover is throughout these experiences, you've noticed that there's no longer will you see a plain text box. In the past, maybe comments that showed up in Telligent prior to 10.0, the comment text box, the status update text box were plain text boxes, and one of them they did support some level of markup, but we went through a full retooling of how you did we call content filtering in the platform. One of the things we get across a lot of different communities is there's a completely different level of expectation of what is and isn't allowed throughout the community when it comes to enabling features in different areas. Some communities don't mind images being uploaded or inserted. Some communities don't mind links being embedded. Some do, et cetera. So in the past, that was done through a configuration file, a little disjointed and not very, and arguably there was across different platforms that had some different behaviors. So that has been retooled to have a single, unified, consistent experience across the platform. So earlier I mentioned if emoticons aren't for you, you have now the capabilities across different applications to control what is allowed through the community interactions through your users. You have this. You always have this top level in this filtering administration. So I can actually remove emoticons from across the entire community. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page because the editors do honor that setting. Earlier I showed you how to insert an emoticon. You'll notice now it's completely gone. So you're able to have a much finer level of control. You'll see when you kind of scroll down here, this is the global level. You can see the level of control you have. This is the top level kill switch, if you will, if you don't want any of these features throughout any of the interactions in your site. In saying that, of course, there's times when different interactions mean different things across different experiences for different communities. So here I've moved to comments, and I have a little bit, I want to control that, just a little bit tighter control. I do not want polls and comments. I do not want people changing the fonts. I don't want them changing the font sizes. This is an out-of-the-box toggles we have on and off. But you see I've got this kind of already pared down, so it's about controlling that experience on my site. And of course I can revert that back to kind of the different options, the full options if I want. So This is all about having a much deeper control. That was there's a big feedback we've had across the 9 was the consistency across that, and now you get it with this. Let me go roll through one more quick option I want to show. Is scoring is another thing that we didn't have a lot of visibility into. We have content quality comes up in search, it comes in user, it comes up into users' content scores, it comes in reputation, etc. But you don't have much insight into it. So with 10.0, we've introduced a new administration panel that gives you control over, or gives you more visibility into what scoring looks like. So in this, for content quality, is like everything in the system gets a content quality based on multiple factors. Content quality, you can see the factors are in this list here. Previously, you had no insight to what those factors were other than querying the table. Now you have this new page that will show you the highest and the lowest across the site. So when you see whether something comes back in search with a high score, or users have a particular reputation, or a particular article has a high reputation, now you can kind of look at that and see where it's coming from. You also have, here I'm going to look at author quality. I can see these are my authors in the system. We also, this is something that's been around since 9, is we support introspection. So not only can you see the highs and lows, but you can also look up particular users. We do a lot of our administration screens now support introspection. So when you actually go find a URL that's a user or an article or something, you can paste it and we'll go find it. And so here we can actually look at Golden Eggs and look at his content quality score. Again, it's about kind of giving you as the community members and community owners more visibility into some of the features. I think I've gone a little bit over here. So I did want to make a couple other notes. Throughout the site, one note is the complete new rich text interactions all the way across the site with full control by community owners. Another thing that we've done is we've upgraded to Solar 6.3, which means we remove the dependency on Java. This is a big win, especially if you run multiple communities. It's a much lower friction install. Also, we've made some improvements in in censorship. We support multiple phrases, regular expressions. So these are kind of some of the top level big features that are really have quick impacts and meaningful impacts to the end users. But there's also there's several other new features that we'll announce. We'll have a full outline of all the features when we announce the release of 10.0. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions at this time. If anybody wants to ask anything related to their community. Again, this will be posted in the Telligent Community in the next couple days. And then if you have any other questions regarding this, you can also follow up with your Customer Success Manager. So I'm going to see here. No, everybody thought it was great, so everybody's questions have been answered. Mr. Giles, I see you're on. I'm sure it's really early in Hawaii, so thank you for joining us. Okay, well, thanks, guys. Keep a lookout for Telligent tips in March, and then, again, reach out to your Customer Success Manager or email myself, kara.strauss@verint.com if you have further questions. Thanks, and everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.